Hello, welcome to more early morning barking, talking about BPD and NPD by somebody that has both. If you find this video useful, please don't forget to like and subscribe. I've just realized how easily I'm reeling this off and it kind of annoys me now. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow the socially things that are going past. I'm bored with it now. Hello, welcome to another video. This one's about making friends because that's something that, well, it's difficult, isn't it? Let me start at the beginning. I've got friends, right? There are people in the world who call themselves my friend and they care about me and I care about them. And that's great. We're friends. We've done things together, had adventures together, got stories to tell, and all of that sort of stuff. Hello, if any of you are watching. The trouble is that none of them live anywhere near me, and I get to see them at most once a year. And this being the year of the Great Plague, it's down to 0 times a year. In fact, as I record this, heartbreakingly enough, tomorrow morning is the morning that I should have been going on the annual trip to go and see all my friends for a few days, but that's been cancelled because plague. I'm very lucky that I've had these friends as long as I have, and I'm very lucky that they're so awesome. And I'm also very lucky that I get to see them when I do, that we have this annual trip that we go on all together and hang out and make a point of doing that once a year and have a great time. As I say, the trouble is they don't live anywhere with me. I don't have any immediate friends as such. Not really. There's no group of people that I hang out with. There's no person that I go and do such and such a thing with on whatever night or whatever. I have very few people in my life on a day-to-day basis. And it's really lonely and depressing as fuck, to be perfectly honest with you. This is far from being an ideal state of existence. I've got Facebook friends, which is great. I'm not knocking it. I'm very grateful for that. But it's not day-to-day friends. And this is something that I've known is a problem for quite some time. You know when you've got no friends, don't you? And I wanted to do something about it. But in order to do something about it, what I didn't know at first, what was holding me back, was that I needed to make it through a fair bit of therapy. And even when I felt ready to start doing stuff to make new friends, that's when lockdown hit. And I realized that I still needed some time to sort of analyze these thoughts and feelings behind the ideas of making friends. It's quite complicated. It's a bizarre thing, as many of the things I described to you are. So why haven't I made new friends? That's the first port of call, isn't it? Let's look at that. All of my friends come from university. That's great, but that was 20 years ago now. Damn, I'm old. And lots of people make friends at university, and some people make friends at university that they do keep their entire lives. But life's supposed to move on, right? University isn't the end. You then go and get a job and you have a career and you work at various places and you have a social life where you do various activities and things that you enjoy, and you meet people through that and you become friends. Well, I didn't have any of that. That's problem number one, right? When I started working after uni, that's all in air quotes, and it's a long story, I'll tell you another day. I started doing it with friends. Those same friends from uni. I didn't meet anybody new. But when all that fell apart, everybody moved on with their lives and got jobs somewhere else and moved house to a new place and met new people and got that life. And I stayed sat exactly where I was, nursing a fear of abandonment and feeling sorry for myself. Maybe if I'm mardy enough, they'll come back. And that obviously isn't going to work, nor would you want it to. That's BPD for you. So I never had another situation where I was forced in with a group of people that I didn't know. I mean, that's the thing about not just university, but going to a new place of work or joining a new club or even right up from going to school. You are suddenly presented with a whole new group of people. Here you are, deal with this. Some of them you'll like, some of them you won't like. Maybe you'll make a friend, maybe you'll make an enemy. Who knows? This is human interaction. Go. And you reach a point in your life where that can potentially stop being forced on you. Even if you do better at work than I have, which isn't hard, you still might end up working from home and fairly socially isolated. And isn't that the theme of the year anyway? So you've got to make that effort to make that push and go out into the world and make new friends. And that, for me, and maybe for you, is actually where the NPD comes in and takes over a little bit in a fairly negative way. Now, I always worried about the narcissism and the NPD in terms of what happens when I'm presented to a group of people. Do I become this loud, larger-than-life extrovert person that eventually ends up somehow taking over the group? Because that's previously sort of been an MO in various situations. I can talk for England. I'll do it if you let me. So I generally either choose to be very quiet within a group or stand up and make a lot of noise one way or another. But what I didn't realize was that it was actually the NPD was going to stop me from even getting that far. There were a lot of fears and a lot of negative thoughts surrounding this concept of meeting new people that all sprung from these narcissistic tendencies and the NPD. Because first of all, there's the argument, I don't need new friends. I've got perfectly good friends. They're my friends. I chose them. They're good. Why would I need new friends? I'm happy with what I've got, thank you. And then on top of that, you start with nobody else is as good as my friends. It's like transferring narcissism. This is not thoughts that they have that, I'd like to think my friends would be like, dude, we're just people. There are lots of people in the world you can get on with. It's like, no, you're the best people. And it's not a sort of, how to describe it? It's more from a favorite person standpoint. That's sort of the BPD latching on for me as well. It's quite an odd combination. It's another example of those two things complementing each other. You don't want to lose what you know and what you've got, and at the same time the NPD comes in and tells you, well, you chose that thing, it must be great. Everything else is shit. So you're even splitting on people as a whole. There's so much going on all at once, and it all just eventually leads you to sitting down and staying still and watching the telly. Because if even the thought of going out and meeting people is that agonizing, then why are you going to do it? And then we haven't even touched on the general narcissistic view of, well, generally people are morons, right? Generally people are going to be a waste of my time. What is even the point in going out and looking for friends, because people are so annoying? And I can't possibly cope with people who aren't as good as the friends I've already got, and there aren't any people, and you just get nowhere. And this is actually where group helped me. because part of that was to once again force me into that situation. Here are other people you have to interact with. You have to try and make it positive. It's going to last for a while. Get on with it. No, they're not like your friends. They're not all of the same political view or age or background in any way or anything. We have nothing in common. We are randomly selected people. The only thing we have in common is we have similar mental health things to discuss with each other. That's the group dynamic. But as far as the rest goes, here's a group of people who I would never ever speak to in a billion years. There's no one there that I would in any way have tolerated being friends with. And then time goes on and you start to talk to people and you start to share things with people and you start to go through this whole experience with people and you learn, hang on, you lot are all right, really. I'm being a total arsehole. The fact that I would never have spoken to you is ridiculous because you're all amazing, and now coming here to talk to you lot is a sort of highlight of my week. And you suddenly realize all the stuff you've missed out on, of how all these people that you've prejudged in the world, and all people, everybody that you've prejudged in the world as being not good enough in some way. What the hell were you talking about? What have you missed out on? You've missed out on all of this human experience because you thought it wasn't good enough for you. What was good enough? What exactly are you waiting for? What was I waiting for to happen? I don't know. But I'd convinced myself that I didn't want to go out because it was rubbish and people are rubbish and everything's rubbish. And anyway, I don't want to be abandoned from what I've got, even though they're abandoning me. And even though they weren't abandoning me, that's how it feels, isn't it? Because they're favourite people and they're moving away. So of course they're doing that to hurt me, right? So this idea of thinking, oh, I need some friends. Yeah, I do. But there's so many things. There's so many walls and barriers in that way. And I feel like I've started to break them down. I picked the worst year of human history to do this. Right? That's purely incidental and quite unfortunate. And it's a really tricky thing to do. I mean, how do you, unless you can go out and do something and be part of something and put yourself in a situation where there are a group of people that you are aiming to interact positively with. How do you make friends? And how does that even work? So it's been something that has just been put on hold. There were so many things I wanted to do and so many things I was willing to do just to have a go at doing something and go out of the house and meet groups of new people. I've got a list on my phone of why not try this? Why not try that? And I'm looking forward to doing it all one day. I really hope that's sooner rather than later, of course. It took that breaking down to see what I was doing. To see that it's all right to move on. And moving on doesn't mean necessarily that you're throwing away the past, that it doesn't matter or didn't matter. It just means you're getting on with life. This is life. It doesn't stay the same. It changes and you have no choice but to change with it, or it will leave you sat there on your own. And then maybe eventually you end up making YouTube videos about it and in therapy. Anyway, take care. I'll see you later. Bye.